Hello, welcome to the Friday Business News Report. It's now time to bring you a feature on the show. Today, we're looking at the cryptocurrency market. Now, cryptocurrencies slipped in Thursday, though without falling through recent lows as traders clung to hopes that a nascent recovery from last week's plunge can also regain its momentum. Bitcoin has failed to hold above its 200-day moving average, and it fell about 4% in the Asia session to $37,619. Ether, the coin linked to Ethereum blockchain network and the second biggest cryptocurrency by market value, also fell more than 7%, also hit $2,675.10. Both have marked sizable year-to-date gains, with Bitcoin up about 30% and Ethereum more than tripling. But a month-long sell-off culminating in a sharp collapse last week has also had each of them well below record peaks made in April. Joining me now to discuss the cryptocurrency market trends and much more, I have with me via Skype from London, Chris Cleverly. Good to have you on the Breakfast Show this morning. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Kamari. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, David. How are you? Are you well?
Very fine, thank you. Now, let's start our conversation with this week's performance of Bitcoin as well as Ethereum and new uses that are also being proposed for Dogecoin. How do you see things playing out?
Well, I think that we always have to give a lot of perspective into this market. The market has always been one that's had quite a lot of volatility, and we have to look at the general trend. The general trend over the last 12 months has obviously been upwards, strongly upwards. We are seeing at the moment that there's a plateau developing just below 40. We're hoping that $40,000 will be tested fairly soon for Bitcoin. And if it does get tested again, then we can see it moving up again. There's every likelihood that it could also go down, and that's, I think, what's causing a lot of fear in the market. I think that the inventor of Ethereum, Ether, as he said, the second largest technology, which is now a $300 billion economy, of many sizes bigger than it was this time last year. As he said, the technologies have not yet been proven and are still looking for their user case. So even though everyone's focusing on the speculation, it's not just speculation. We have to find how these technologies can be used.
Now, do you think Bitcoin can also hit its high of previous record prior to Elon Musk's comment, and also environmental concerns as to how these coins are mined? Cautious optimism is the sentiment really at this point in time, wouldn't you say?
So I think there's two things. Like I said, the technologies are still finding their way. So the moment the two that you've spoken about rely on proof of work, not proof of stake. Proof of work uses quite a lot of energy. The new cryptocurrencies such as Cardano, ADA, Polkadot, Binance Chain use proof of stake, so they don't use the same energy, they don't cause environmental concerns. So you're going to see a sort of turnaround over the next 12 months between the old guard. Probably Bitcoin will stay because it's a store of value now, and people are using it as a way of keeping their currency secure. But you're actually going to see, I think, a movement towards these new environmentally friendly currencies, or also now $50 billion economies such as Cardano and Polkadot and Binance Chain.
Let's now talk about some new moves that Kamari is also making now in terms of the ease of transactions. We are seeing P2P transactions becoming the way to go for so many investors in Africa. Take, for example, Nigeria. Despite the CBN directive and cryptocurrency transactions, we're still seeing movements.
Well, I think you're going to see, Africa was made for cryptocurrency. Africa needs cryptocurrency. I think, centralized banking was, efficient, didn't have high interest rates, didn't have currencies that also were highly volatile, then there wouldn't be a need for cryptocurrency. I think what we're seeing at the moment is the next stage where cryptocurrency is now developing into filling those gaps that exist in our markets. How does someone go and get some cloths from China via bearer in Mozambique, and then from Mozambique to their home in Lilongwe in Malawi? How does that happen? How can you do that transaction? We're sitting now with the African continental free trade area opened up, but how do we actually move currencies, products, services, goods between the countries? So that's why there's an opportunity, I think, for people like us who have Kamari, which is going to be a cross-border transaction currency, as well as one that's going to be able to help people navigate their way around heavy debt, interest rates, heavy costs of doing transactions, inability to store value, and also to keep that little gap that people have when they're transacting liquid. Somebody goes and buys something and they want to sell it later. How do they do that transaction? Somebody wants to go and get some fertilizer, grow some vegetables or fruit, and they have to wait until they get at the other end of the transaction. All these microfinance opportunities are going to be met by cryptocurrencies, especially with what we call DeFi. And so look out for that, David. I think DeFi is going to be the reason why cryptocurrency is going to find its home in Africa. It's decentralized. It means decentralized finance. And what it means is that in terms of interest rates, they'll be into single digits. And it means that in terms of helping farmers and helping merchants, it means they're going to be able to really build their businesses and educate their kids and live really good lives. So that's the promise of cryptocurrency, and you're going to see that developing over the year and next year, and then we're going to be in a very interesting place.
And now, gradually wrapping up our conversation, let's look at the need for inclusion and also financial literacy, sensitization. These are critical elements of any market. So now, talking about the cryptocurrency market, how much of an information base do you think we have to build? How much of robust engagement do you think we need to have? The calls for regulation, all of these still tilt some way or the other to financial literacy.
Absolutely. I mean, what's interesting was if you look at the speed at which Africa can take up technologies like mobile banking, which not only did it take it up, it led the way in it. So where there is a need, Africa finds a way. And that's always been the case. So we're working with African Grain and Seed in Southern Africa to sensitize farmers and people who are working as merchants in the food supply chain as to how to use cryptocurrency so that they can lower their costs of borrowing considerably, and that they're able then to also take advantage of the future sales of their goods that they or their agriculture or their harvest or their cultivation that they produce. So really massively exciting moment. And we're also partnering down there with the cross-border fiat transaction company, traditional finance company, Zimpay. And people will know that from Zimbabwe will know that company and all the help that is provided in really joining up, not just financial literacy, but how you use that literacy and actually being able to have real tools in your hands so you can actually make your life a lot better. So that's what we think is the hope of Kamari, and that's really what we want to do, and we'll be launching that fairly soon. So we're excited.
Thank you very much for your time on the breakfast show this morning, Chris Cleverly. We can only wish Kamari the very best, and then hopefully when we have more engagement in terms of the trends in cryptocurrency market, we'll have you also shed some light on that. Thank you once again.
All the best.
Well, that's it from the business desk this morning.